For those that don't know me, I'm Virginia Walton, and I'm an executive coach with a primary focus on helping executive women get off or avoid the path to burnout with all the demands they have in life. So, prior to starting my coaching practice, I spent 24 years in the banking and finance industry, where I worked myself from teller at a small community bank to senior vice president of a $27 billion bank by the age of 38. It wasn't fancy degrees and family connections that got me there. As a matter of fact, my father was the biggest deadbeat dad in the county when I finished college. It was hard work, setting goals, and determination. And about 10 or 11 years ago, I had my first opportunity to experience coaching. And after hearing the Cliff Notes version of my life, reading my 360 survey results, the coach looked at me and said, this all makes sense. I get it. And if you don't change, you're not going any further. If you don't change, you're not going any further. Those words hit me pretty hard since I was at the lowest level of management and in my early 30s. I thought another 30 years doing this sounded awful. So I embraced the process. And that, and a strong work ethic, advanced my career and brought me to where I am today. So now I want to help others have that same kind of experience and even greater success. So, let's dive into today's topic. Does it feed you or drain you? Listen, we all have things that we love to do. They energize us. They inspire us. It's different for everybody, right? You may love a run first thing in the morning and it fuels you for the whole day. And then you may be like me. The thought of just running around town sounds awful. You know, I'd love to tell you that by the end of this talk today, you'll have nothing on your list that dreads you. But that's probably unrealistic, right? There's always going to be things we have to do that we'd rather not do. It's part of life. But the idea here is to make that list as short as possible. And there's a couple ways you can approach how to get things off that list. So, again, everybody's list of what feeds them versus what strains them is going to be different. An example is, I hate to iron. I'm awful at it. I started doing my own laundry at about 7 years old, and had pleated skirts my whole childhood. You think I'd be really good at making sharp pleats by now? Nope, not at all. I iron in wrinkles. Yep. When I was married, I would have to ask my now ex-husband to do the ironing. He was actually better at it. So I avoid it at all costs. I'm just not good at it, and I have no desire to practice it. Yet, I had a colleague a few years telling us how he does all the ironing in his house for himself, his wife, and their 2 adult children. He enjoys it. He sets up the ironing board in front of the TV, watches what he wants to watch. Nobody bothers him. It's his quiet time. Can you apply that approach to some of the things you'd rather not do? If not, find a good dry cleaner. Hey, what about yard work and housework? For some, they're not their favorite task. You know, for the last few years, I had a young brother and sister team who started a landscape business as a supplemental income because they're teachers. So this is their summer work, and I didn't have a lot of time, so it was great. It was a reasonable price. I'd rather spend that hour or 2 every week doing something for my community. It was win-win. Now this year, I have more time right now, and I opted to conserve a little cash, so I mow my own lawn. I don't dread it. I enjoy it. You know, do I enjoy the trying to figure out when to do it with all the rain we've had in New Jersey in the last couple weeks? No. But I get such a feeling of pride when it's done because you can see that it's done, unlike some of our corporate tasks where you work hard all day, but you don't really visualize or you can't see a tangible result. So I focus on that. I focus on the fact that I get to burn 400 plus calories in the time it takes to walk to mow my lawn. I don't dread it. I find the positive in it. Can you apply that to your housework chores or your yard work chores? Maybe you put on your earbuds and you're listening to your favorite podcasts or an audiobook, so you're gaining some knowledge and insight, not just getting this task done. Or if you really, really can't stand doing that task, can you have somebody else do it? Can you pay somebody to mow the lawn or clean the house? Do you have a teenager that you can make it a chore? Yeah, kids can still do chores at this time like we did when we were kids. You know, I used to have to mow the lawn as a kid before my mom would take me anywhere. And we had a 5-acre lawn. So, thank goodness the Walkman was invented then. And if you're younger than me and don't know what that is, Google it. The point is, change your approach or see who else can do it. And if you think, well, I don't have any kids, or my kids are too little to delegate stuff to, Virginia, or my budget's already stretched so thin, I can't pay somebody to do these tasks I don't want to do. Okay, look at where you spend your money. Is there something you're willing to give up to create the cash to have somebody else do that horrible task that just drains you of your energy? It's a give and take. You know, I think of an expression I learned as a child: where there's a will, there's a way. You can figure it out. You know, people are starting to go back to the office now. Hey, that daily stop for coffee and a bagel. And I'm from the East Coast. We have good bagels. What's that add up to in a month? Could that be having somebody come in and give a good cleaning once a month? So you just have to do a little light stuff. Let them do the scrubbing of the floors, or mow the lawn and do the weed whacking, or the mulching. There's gives and takes. You know, I actually don't mind mulching. Again, connecting with nature. By the end of the day, I was exhausted. So I'm grateful it's only once a year. Where can you change your thought process on these things? The same is true, right, with work. There's always something at a job that you just don't like this task. It's tedious. It doesn't excite you. But there's probably other things that do. The people, the flexibility, you know. Is your job fueling your soul and inspiring you? Is it just feeding your bank account? Or is it feeding both? Ideally, we all want it to be both, right? We want to feel passion and pride and like we're making a difference in the work we do. And we also need to make money. I mean, unless your financial circumstance doesn't require that and you can quit your job and never do anything around your home again and go be the artist or musician or poet or professor you always wanted to be, hey, go for it. I'm a little envious. But that's not most of us. Most of us are going to have a job. So, how do you approach it? There were things I hated doing. I hated having to follow up with people on audit remediation issues. It was like nagging. Did you do this? Did you do this? You know, I had colleagues who would look at our internal auditors like, what's wrong with them? Why do they want to do that? Yet, I was friends with many of the auditors, and they loved what they did. They felt good about it. They felt they were helping. Now, maybe the people getting the issues didn't, but again, it's perspective. I wouldn't want to do that job. I don't think I could bring the right mindset. So I would dread it every day. So if you're in that mindset where you're going to work, and while, yeah, there's things you love, maybe it's the people, everything else just zaps you of your energy and you just can't go, then maybe it's time to look for another job. Maybe you look to see how your talent can be used elsewhere if you love the people and you love the company and the culture. It's just the tasks. Find different tasks. Keep doing what you got to do till you can find something. Or if you love the content and the work, but you hate the environment, it drains you. And there are some companies that you walk into and you just drains your energy. I've been through periods of that. And you're like, God, I don't want to be here. I felt great. I had a good workout. I had a great commute. My breakfast was awesome. And you walk in and then there's just, whoa. Okay, if you're experiencing that, you don't have to. Yes, I get it. You need a paycheck. You need to support yourself, your family, and everybody who depends on you. That doesn't mean that while you're doing that job and meeting your commitments, because they are paying you, you need to meet your commitments. You can't check out. Look for another job, doing what you love to do in a different environment that will invigorate you. That when you walk in and you're like, yes, I get to be here today. Nothing says you can't do that. You can look for another opportunity. You can look for another opportunity in your organization. You got to take the effort. You don't have to sit and live in that experience of drain. It's in your control. It's in your mindset and in your actions. So can you focus on all the things you love about your work, in your job, in your role, in your organization, so that when the things that aren't so great, you can be like, all right, I got to tolerate this, but I love all this other stuff, so it's okay. You know? Like, I love where I live. I'm so committed to my community and my town. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. But when I had a corporate role, there weren't jobs close by that would give me that income. I had to compromise and commute. So I turned my commute into time to learn, to study now, and I can share that information with you. It's all about the mindset. I could have faced the dreaded commute and then let it set me off into a bad day, or make the best of it and say, hey, it gives me time. There are probably people who, when they started working from home, missed their commute that they never liked, but they're like, wow, I don't have that downtime. I don't have that time to separate from work to home. I don't have time to listen to my audiobooks. I don't have time to just veg out into my favorite songs or podcasts. It's perspective. Change your perspective. And if you can't, look to either go to another job or different role, or if it's some sort of dreaded chore, delegate it. Outsource it. Force it upon a young child that needs an allowance or a ride. Now, there's one more category of stuff we haven't talked about. All the other stuff we do. I know many of my friends, because we're like-minded people. We serve at your kids' school, your kids' sports, community activities, church activities. You know, I was recently talking to a friend. She's an incredible woman. She has a great career. But that's not her passion. Her passion is helping those in need. And she started this great organization to helping the homeless. And today is Wednesday. She'll be out there with that team of people, making sure the homeless in her community have food, clothes, a shower, a haircut. Things we take for granted, right? Maybe you dread finding the time to go get a haircut. Think about these people she's going to be seeing tonight who are thrilled because they live on the streets and they can't get one. Perspective. So here, that fuels her. That inspires her. Work she enjoys. She does it well. But when that drains her, she remembers all this great work that she can do to help others and how that feeds her soul. Do you have something like that? So I share that example not just to brag on my friend because she's fabulous, but if you've got these other demands to your church, your community, your condo association, whatever, and they don't inspire you, they don't feed you, why are you doing them? Yes, we should all serve and share our time and talents. I'm a firm believer in that. I'm a firm believer in giving back and helping those less fortunate. Absolutely. But do it in a way that feeds your soul. So the next time somebody asks you to run a fundraiser, help with the basketball team, organize the end of season soccer party, and you just ask yourself, before you answer, say, is that going to feed me or drain me? And if your answer is no, it's not going to feed me, no, I'm not excited to do that, then let that be your answer. It's okay to say no. You don't have to give to every request you get. Because frankly, if your heart's not in it, how good is it going to be? Say, you know what? I don't have time. I can't really fully commit. Maybe next time. It's okay. I run our junior field hockey program, and every year on the registration, I ask what parents can volunteer. And the majority say no, they can't. I don't shame them. I'm not going to say all their names right here. I get it. They have lives. They have lots of demands. So if they can't commit fully, okay. You do what you can. And that you can do with your full energy. So remember, it's the mindset. And if you can't, if it's such a drain that you can't be all in or 95% excited and just accept the 5% of crap that we all have, then change it. Say no if it's to your community. Look for a different role. Outsource it. Even at work, can you delegate this task that you hate to somebody else on your team so they can learn it? They might love it. You never know. But focus your time on the things that feed you, that fuel you, that energize you and inspire you, because you will excel in all of those. And it'll actually carry into the things you don't like as much. Right? So with that, my friends, remember, maybe this wasn't what you needed to hear right now, but somebody else may need to. So please consider sharing this with your network, because that's why we're all connected, to help each other. If you have questions or are interested in learning more, or you're like, this makes sense, but I just don't know where to start, reach out. Drop me a comment, Facebook, LinkedIn, my website, virginiawalton.com. I think my cell phone's there. You can text me. Let's get in touch. I want to help you. Let me help you find what inspires and feeds your soul. With that, be well, and thanks for your time.